Yeah. My question to Tottenham Hotspur Football Club: have you run out of paper? Now, when I say have you run out of paper, people generally think that I'm talking about money. So when it comes to paper and Tottenham running out of paper, is that a concern for me? Not in a million years. We got people driving around in F1 cars. We got people doing the skywalk. We've got owners giving themselves pay rises for the great work that they've been doing. You got owners that have got shares. Are Tottenham running out of paper? I'll ask you the question again. No. But that's what people would think. Tottenham are running out of paper. And do you know what sort of paper? A4 paper. The paper that papers over the cracks. No more paper left. When Pochettino's getting us into the top four and getting to his Champions League final, we ain't spending no paper. But we got to the final, so it papered over the cracks. Mourinho gets us to a Carabao Cup final a week before. We don't want to spend the paper to give him the money to win that trophy. So we say to Pep Guardiola, don't worry about it. You ain't got Mourinho to worry about. You got Ryan Mason. When it gets to the point where Tottenham are second in the league and Harry Redknapp's saying, you give me a striker and a defender, we'll go and win this league. We'll have a really good chance of it. We've got Gareth Bale, we've got Lennon, we've got Defoe. We had a bid accepted for Hazard, Aguero, Forlan. Who does he give us? Louis Zaha and Ryan Nelson. Ain't got enough paper. You look at Conte. Conte had Kane and Son on lock. Asked for a bit of guidance. We ain't got enough paper, mate. He walks. Thomas Frank is kept in a job for God knows how long. Why? They don't want to give out any paper. It's a common theme. You know, Thomas Frank was 15th. Nah, we don't want to sack him. We want to give him time. Pochettino was 14th, 3 months after a Champions League final. Nah, we better get rid of you. Where was the time there? Time and paper is what's catching up with this club. Now, in terms of me being a fan or any hardened Tottenham fan, do we deserve this? No. If you're a Spurs fan, you don't deserve this. Tottenham Hotspur Football Club deserve this. They deserve relegation. We deserve to be playing Blackburn away next season. You got to think, Blackburn, when there is in the Premier League, they've probably done more in the Premier League than Tottenham have. They definitely have. They've won one. Do they deserve to be down there after winning the Premier League? No. Leicester are down there. They've won a Premier League. Leeds have only just come back up. Let's be real, in a balance, they might have done as much as Tottenham. They've had league titles, league challenges, sorry. They've finished top four. They've been in the Champions League semi-final. But when Leeds went down, they're too big to go down. What happened? They went down. Newcastle have been down. Aston Villa have won a Champions League. They've been down there. Why can't it happen to Tottenham? If I'm completely honest with myself, I do not want it to happen, but I feel like it needs to. I feel that Tottenham needs to go down for everybody involved to wake up, because when you're trying to increase ticket prices, no one's coming. When you're trying to get 50 quid for a home game, it ain't going to be, mate. We're in the Championship. That's the only time these guys are going to learn. Who's papering over the cracks now? We've always had a Gareth Bale. We've always had a Harry Kane. We've always had a Mourinho. We've always had a Conte. What we got now? Where do I look at and go, we're going to paper the cracks? What, we're still going to keep singing Champions of Europe? Everything about that game yesterday proves that we are finished. And there's no one can hide now. The owners can't hide. We're 16th in the league. The players, they're trying to hide, but that's the reason why we ain't getting results. We've got a manager that I felt sorry for yesterday because you just got chucked to the lions. He was trying to tell people to move here, move there. Players ain't good enough. He's going to realise very quickly that I hope this 10-year ends. And if they get relegated or stay up, I need to get out of here. Look how many managers of top level that have said, I need to get out of here. No manager has left Tottenham and had a good word to say about him. The only one I can think of is probably Harry Redknapp. Harry Redknapp has some good things to say, but again, he knows deep down it ain't the case because his son's on Sky Sports saying how they treated my dad, how they treated him as a player. Jamie Redknapp was the captain of Spurs, and he'll tell you how crap it is there as an establishment. Jamie Redknapp was captain when I was, what, 10, 15? Do you get what I'm saying? And he will tell you how crap it was. Now, if I'm going to look at that game will tell you everything about Tottenham. When I'm sitting there with my son and I'm saying to him, Eze's playing, that's the one guy we need to stop. Who have we got in our team that can stop him? Paulinho. Get Paulinho to follow that geezer everywhere because we need to save ourselves the embarrassment of this guy turning up and letting it all work out. What does the manager do? Puts him in a back three. Why have you put him in a back three when we've only got 2 centre-halves fit? If we've only got 2 centre-halves fit, adapt and just say we're going to protect the 2. We've got one as, Dragusin was just terrible. But like I said to my son, don't have a go at Dragusin. Blame the people that brought him in. Don't have a go at Telb for being crap. Who brought him in? Don't have a problem with Kolo Muani being crap. Who brought him in? Whether it's managers or recruitment, who brought them in? Nothing is papering over the cracks anymore. Tottenham, in my eyes, have deserved this slump for years. We've had it before. The last time this used to happen to me was when I was little, 8, 9, 10 years old, and we had Alan Sugar, and this stuff used to happen. Everything that happens to Tottenham, they deserve. Tottenham fans in general, or media outlets, were coming out and telling me that because we've got a new manager and Arsenal have drawn a couple of games, we're just going to beat them. The reason why Wolves got a result is because they've got a better manager and they're better well set up and they're more hungry. And the club is trying to amend for the mistakes that they've made. They've got Rob Edwards in ready for next season. They've got players like Adam Armstrong and all this stuff. So they're, as much as they've made mistakes, they're trying to rectify the mistakes. That's the reason why they can get a result against Arsenal. Brentford got rid of the manager that we took off them and they gave Arsenal a run for the money and should have beat them. Brentford are a better side than them. They're a better well-run club than us in terms of what needs to go on the grass. Why did we think because we're Tottenham that we're just going to beat Arsenal? I was speaking to my friends that support Arsenal and I was saying I don't understand how everybody just thinks that we're going to turn this home form around with the same players and a manager that I've never heard of. Yesterday was an absolute embarrassment, man. The only reason I didn't do a video yesterday is because I had stuff going on in my personal life while the game was on and I just thought, you know what, I've got a day off work, I'll do it then. I weren't shying away. I spoke to Arsenal fans, I've replied to all their messages. One of my best friends is an Arsenal fan. I was on the phone to him yesterday. I'm not going to shy away from it. I was telling him, I don't know how everybody thinks we're just going to win this game. The only way we're going to win this game is somehow if we score first and you lot lose the game for yourselves. Like, who as a Spurs fan, I don't know who I can look at anymore. But that's when you know the papers run out. I look at a Xavi Simons. I love the guy that he tries and he makes things happening. But what's the point of him doing that when Kolo Muani's standing there offside, stoned out of his nut? That's what it feels like. He scored a goal, but what, does that make me believe that all of a sudden this guy is going to take us to where we need to be? You must be having a laugh, mate. We've got people like Van der Ven. He's just playing on anger. He's just fed up with this. He's looking at it thinking, this club ain't going nowhere. I'm better than this. And the manager that made me this way, you got rid of. I was the first person to say get rid of Ange. But when you deep it, another paper over the crack. The geezer won us a trophy. And fair enough if you had to get rid of him for the league form, I agreed with that. But you go and bring me somebody that's never won a trophy. Ange said it with chest. I'll do it in 2 seasons, mate. Did it everywhere he went. We bring it in for a manager that's a yes man that's like, oh, you know, I did it at Brentford. What was we doing? But again, because he's a nice guy and he's got nice hair, it just papers over the cracks. He's gone now. We've got some guy that I've never heard of, never been in the Premier League. And I saw him yesterday. I saw that passion in him. I've seen him wants to do it. But imagine being a manager and you're trying to get people to do something and it ain't registering. It ain't ever going to register, mate. I look at players and the only people that it will register with is Van der Ven, Xavi Simons, Kevin Danso, Solanke, Kudus. You've got 5 players in a 25-man squad that I believe that if you work with them, they'll get it out of you. What about the rest of them? They're either injured because we've got a crap medical team, or even when they're fit, they just don't, it don't work. I've had enough. Everybody is culpable to this, including fans. There's fans that will jump around and say, oh, get off Levy's back, get off Enoch's back, get off Thomas Frank's back, get off, what do you mean, get off backs? Have you seen what's happening to our club? These are the sort of fans that when we get relegated, let's say, that's when they'll go, oh, you know what, Jake, you were right. It's embarrassing. That game yesterday typified everything about Tottenham Hotspur. Not just for the season or the last 2, the whole club in general. Nothing works. You've got a defence that's not working, a midfield that doesn't know whether to press or come in, and you've got strikers that don't know how to score goals. Absolute mess. I hate saying it, but fair play to Arsenal. Arsenal knew they didn't have to play well. Just keep solid. This team are crap. Eze went and done his thing. It was easy. Who was gonna mark him? Archie Gray, Conor Gallagher. We've got 2 midfielders that are number 8s playing in the number 6, and we're trying to keep hold of arguably one of the best number 10s in the league on his day. And you just said, oh, Archie, you crack on. Sorry, it wasn't even Archie Gray. My head's gone. It was Basuma and Papsar. Papsar's box to box. Basuma had too much to do in that midfield. And you wonder why Eze had the freedom of the park again. Eze scores again. 4-1 again. Like, we deserve it. We deserve to be relegated. We deserve everything. The only people that don't deserve it are fans that think like me. I saw this time ago. I don't buy merch. I don't go to games. Like I said, in the last 5 years, the only Tottenham games I've gone to is Wolves away. Why? Because it's round the corner and I'm giving money to Wolves. I don't mind giving Wolves 50 quid. I don't mind giving Aston Villa 50 quid to go and sit in the away end and just watch it with my mouth shut. I'm not, as much as I want to sit with the away fans, I'm not spending the money and giving it to them for what? This feels like, imagine, when people say the hypothetical thing, you go to a church, there's a roof in the ceiling, there's a roof and a hole in it, and every week you're giving in 10, 20 quid towards the church roof. But you've been going there for 15 years and the hole's still there. What am I giving my money towards then? Because if there's a hole still there and there's a leak, where's the money gone then? Because I'm not seeing no Bibles. I'm not seeing the church being, rejuvenated, and the hole's getting worse. So where's this money then? That's how I feel with Tottenham. When I go to church, I'll give money because they got to pay rent. But when they say that it goes towards a cause, at the end of it, I see we gave it to this charity. Someone went to Bangladesh and did this. Someone went to Africa and did that. Someone went to Poland and did this. Someone fed the homeless. I'm like, cool. I'll still give, just from my will of God. But on top of that, it's good to give. It's not good to give to Tottenham. It is not good to give to this club. Because what they'll do is spend money and give us what we served up yesterday. Arsenal could have made that 10-1. And the thing is, I said to my best mate, I wouldn't be surprised if Gyökeres scores 2. I wouldn't be surprised if Eze turns up. And we're having banter. And he's not confident because of what happened at Wolves. What happened? Gyökeres got made to look like Henry. Eze was out there like Bergkamp. But I guarantee you, when they play their next game, that don't happen. Arsenal fans will be complaining next week because it reverts back to type. Now, does that mean Arsenal played brilliant yesterday? I've spoke to Arsenal fans and they feel that they didn't play great. They're saying Declan Rice was off his head and doing things for the camera because of his interview. There was times where they felt that Timber looked knackered and shaky. There was times where they felt that they didn't keep control of the ball. Trossard was pointless. They're saying all that to me and they won 4-1. And I'm supposed to be jumping around going, oh yeah, keep the faith. We lost that game because we are crap. Arsenal had no problem. Like I said, if Arsenal played the way they did against Atletico Madrid, that would have been 10. The reason why Arsenal only made it 4 is because they were lacking confidence. But like I said to everybody, Tottenham will give you a boost. Aston Villa were looking at Emery. It was all pressure on him. Comes to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, 2-1. They're in a title challenge. Fair enough, that's faltered. But for a long time, we're looking at it thinking, Aston Villa, cool. Bournemouth hadn't won a game in 10 matches. They come to Tottenham, win. All of a sudden, 2 weeks later, they beat Liverpool and they give Arsenal a run for their money. Newcastle the other day. Eddie Howe, not too sure if they're going to keep his job. Comes and plays his us. Wins 2-1. They smack up Karabag 6-2 in the Champions League. They go to Newcastle to Man City the other night and should have been 2-2. There, Newcastle are back now. Liverpool were falling off a cliff to the point where they were like, this is easy food for Tottenham. Lost 2-1. Liverpool stabilised themselves. They're getting the 1-0s now. It might be scrappy, but they're getting the wins. But where did that run start from? Tottenham. It's becoming a joke. Everybody's coming to Tottenham and getting through. Burnley, that we drew 2-2 with them. All of a sudden, they're unbeaten. They go to Palace and beat them. They drew at Stamford Bridge. What happened? Because they played us and got confidence. Is this what we're doing? We're just going to give everybody confidence while we get relegated. That's what's going to happen. We're going to play Fulham next week. Lose that. We're going to play Crystal Palace at home, which is going to be cast as a relegation decider, and probably lose that. What are we going to do then? Get rid of Igor Tudor and bring someone else in? What are we going to do? Because my thing is, if we don't win our next 2-3 games, we've got 9 games left and we've got to make a decision. Is this manager going to keep us up or not? But this is what's going to happen. It happened with Stellini. We got rid of Conte, bought Stellini and that didn't work, and then we brought someone else in. Like, is this what we're going to be doing again? It's a joke. Yesterday, I remember sitting there in front of the TV with my son, and you'd think my son was the dad and I was the son. Why? Because my son's patting me on the back going, Dad, we just got to hold it. Tottenham are crap. He's telling me this stuff while I'm staring at my TV thinking, what have we become? Now, my son's right. In my head, though, I had so much stuff going through my head about how Tottenham have sometimes dared to do. But half the time, we don't dare at all, mate. To dare is to do should be ripped down and just said, Tottenham Hotspur, have you got any money? Have you got any paper? Tottenham Hotspur should be called the Printer Club because it always needs flipping paper. On that note, I'm going to end it there. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos around this topic because I've just got to the point where I've had enough, to the point I'm probably going to turn up at the next protest. Jacob on the one up top.